Are you wondering what's in store for the housing market this year? And more specifically, what it all means for you if you plan or buy to sell a home? The best way to get that information is to lean on the pros. Experts are constantly updating and revising their forecasts, so here's the latest on two of the biggest factors expected to shape the year ahead: mortgage rates and home prices. Will mortgage rates come down? Everyone's keeping an eye on mortgage rates and waiting for them to come down. So the question is really, how far and how fast? The good news is they are projected to ease a bit in 2025. But that doesn't mean you should expect to see a return of 3 to 4% mortgage rates. As Lawrence Yun, the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, says, "Are we going back to 4%? Per my forecast, unfortunately, we will not. It's more likely that we'll go back to 6%. And the other experts agree. They're forecasting rates could settle in the mid to low 6% range by the end of the year. You can see that by looking at this chart here. 2025 quarter one, Fannie Mae predicting 6.6%. Mortgage Bankers Association of America, 6.6%. Wells Fargo, 6.65%. And the average 6.62. And as you can see, the quarter two average 6.45%, quarter three average 6.32%, and the quarter four average 6.3%. But you should remember this will continue to change as new information becomes available. Expert forecasts are based on what they know right now. And since everything from inflation to economic drivers have an impact on where rates will go from here, some ups and downs are still very likely. So don't get caught up in the exact numbers here and try to time the market. Instead, focus on the overall trend and what you can actually control. A trusted lender and an agent partner will make sure you always get the latest data and the context on what it really means for you and your bottom line. With their help, you'll see even a small decline can help bring down your future mortgage payment. Will home prices fall? The short answer, not likely. While mortgage rates are expected to ease, home prices are projected to keep climbing in most areas, just at a slower, more normal pace. If you average the expert forecast together, you'll see prices are expected to go up roughly 3% next year, most of them hitting somewhere in the 3 to 4% range. And that's a much more typical and sustainable rise in prices. As you can see by looking at this 2025 home price forecast, only Moody's Analytics and Morgan Stanley are predicting a depreciation in prices, where everyone else, from the lowest being Freddie Mac at 0.6%, all the way up to 5.5%. So don't expect a sudden drop that'll score you a big deal if you're thinking of buying this year. While that may sound disappointing if you're hoping prices will come down, focus on this. It means you won't have to deal with the steep increases we saw in recent years, and you'll also likely see any home you do go buy up in value after you get the keys in hand. And that's actually a good thing. And if you're wondering how it's even possible prices are still rising, here's your answer. It all comes down to supply and demand. Even though there are more homes for sale now than there were a couple years ago, or even a year ago, it's still not enough to keep up with all the buyers out there. Redfin explains prices will rise at a pace similar to that of the second half of 2024 because we don't expect there to be enough new inventory to meet demand. Keep in mind though, the housing market is super local, so this will vary by area. Some markets will see even higher prices, and some may see prices level off or even dip a little if the inventory is up in that area. In most places though, prices will continue to rise as they usually do. If you want to find out what's happening where you live, you need to lean on an agent who can explain the latest trends and what they mean for your plans. The bottom line, housing market is always shifting, and 2025 will be no different. With rates likely to ease a bit and prices rising at a more normal and sustainable pace, it's all about staying informed and making a plan that works for you. Reach out to your local real estate pro to get the scoop on what's happening in your area and advice on how to make your next move a smart one.